Yo, yo. What up? What up? Welcome back. We back for another one. Hope y'all doing okay today. We're going to get into some things. I'm your host, the JPOC. And we're going to get into it, man. I'm going to get to some music. Another beautiful day for it. Oh, man. I hope y'all doing well out there. Much love. Much love. Glad to be here. Glad to be back. Let's see what's going on out there, man. Cut all the small talk. Let's see what's going on out in the world. So we got the misuse of Georgia welfare funds, which is terrible. Give you some details on that. We had a 8-month pregnant 21-year-old deported out of Atlanta airport, which is wild, crazy. We had a woman that was grazed by a bullet. Her and her 2-year-old was shot in Clayton. Terrible story. Metro Atlanta students, some of my alum, protested in the streets yesterday. So there was a big gathering for that at Georgia State, and other locations. Outrage over surge of data centers in Georgia inspires wave of bipartisan bills. I haven't even looked at that one, but we'll go over some details together on that one. And state of emergency for Georgia. They're calling for an ice storm this weekend, so it's looking really real out there. All right. So let's go back. Let's go into this misuse of welfare funds. Let's see what's up with that. Advocates say Georgia's use of welfare funds isn't helping the children or child welfare crisis. Georgia should return to TANF funding to its original purpose and fully fund child welfare needs, they say. Ooh, advocates. Who are the advocates? The state's budget will dominate the legislative session as lawmakers debate whether to cut taxes or increase spending. The head of Georgia's child welfare agency says she's facing an $85 million budget hole. While the governor's budget does provide some relief, advocates say the real issue is Georgia's reliance on TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. TANF is a federal block grant. About $329 million a year for Georgia, designed initially to help very low-income families with children meet basic needs. Georgia uses about 18% of its TANF for that. Temporary assistance for needy families. According to a 2023 congressional report, Georgia spends 66% of its temporary assistance for needy families funds on child welfare services such as foster care. Only Arizona spends more. The national average is 15%. Only Arizona. Wow. Georgia spends 66% of its funds on child welfare services. Still, it is a small portion of DHS's overall $2.5 billion budget, which also covers some elder services, the Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation Agency, and food stamps. But the way the money is allocated matters, because when the federal government shuts down, TANF funds were temporarily withheld. DFCS Commissioner Candace Broche told lawmakers Georgia didn't start receiving that money until late December, weeks after the shutdown ended. to keep services running. The state backfilled with its own money, but federal rules don't allow all of those costs to be reimbursed later. Wow. Pay them people what they owe, man. Pay them people. That gap is now part of the $85 million shortfall DFCS is warning about. Georgia needs to stabilize its child welfare system. We cannot have children losing resources. We cannot have, foster parents and group homes not able to care for children in that way, in the way that they need to. So that is the crisis, said Ife Finch Floyd. The Federal of Economic Justice at the Georgia Budget and Policy Institute. Okay. Still, only a tiny fraction of families get what most people think of as welfare. Tiny fraction. Right now, about 3,500 families statewide receive TANF, cash assistance. For a family of 3, the benefit is $280 a month, the same amount it was in the early 90s. Wow. This is devastating. I did not know this information, but that is devastating. Devastating. Only 3,500 families statewide. We have millions and millions of people here in the state of Georgia. It's crazy. And I mean, they talk about, everybody, all of these, minorities are getting this welfare and they're being supported by the state and all of this stuff. And it's like, this is 3,500 families out of millions and to qualify, the family can earn no more than $784 a month, roughly 35% of the poverty line. So you can't make more than $784 a month. And then on top of that, you're only getting $280 on top of that. So you're living off of barely $1,000 a month. That is insane. House Bill 500 would raise eligibility to about 74% of the poverty line and increase monthly benefits to $666. Why did they pick that number? For a family of 3. It would also loosen asset limits. For example, by forcing families to give up a car to qualify. Give up a car? By forcing families to give up a car to qualify. Wow. We make sure they have adequate housing. That is a big one. We make sure they have income, food assistance, and child care assistance that they need so they can be financially stable, right? That would have a huge return on reducing our child welfare interactions, said Mr. Floyd. Bro, I can't get over this. It would also loosen asset limits. For example, by forcing families to give up a car to qualify. Like, give up a car? I don't understand. You want the person to be able to, I don't know, like make money. You got to drive to work and stuff. That's crazy. This is nuts. Other states use TANF differently, funding childcare, work supports, or refundable tax credits. This state is so messed up in the way we do things. It's backwards and convoluted, and oh my goodness, it's just downright dirty. Advocates argue that helping families afford housing, transportation, diapers, and childcare can prevent children from ever entering foster care, saving money and trauma in the long run. As for the obvious question, if Georgia has a massive surplus, why not just spend it? The answer is complicated. State budgets are highly compartmentalized, and money set aside for one purpose can't always be used for another. The governor's rainy day fund can be tapped only for one-time expenses, not for ongoing costs like foster care placements, and any use still requires legislative approval. Okay. Wow, that was a eye-opening article. Yeah, man, pay these people what they owe, but man, we should be given. I mean, like, it's so expensive out here right now. You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, right now, about 3,500 families statewide receive TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families. Only 3,500 families. I mean, come on, bro. Out of a state of millions of people, and then they're only getting $280 a month, and they don't qualify if they're making more than $784 a month. And then on top of that, in order to qualify, some of those families have to give up a car. It's crazy. That's nuts. That's nuts. But, you know, all we hear is welfare queens. Everybody's taken from the government. Socialism is bad. You know, I mean, like, it's wild, man. It's wild, but whatever. We'll keep looking at that. We'll keep looking at that. There's got to be a better way. You know what I mean? Got to be a better way. Moving on. Moving on. We got the 8-month-old, 8-month pregnant 21-year-old that was deported at was it at it was at Hartfields Jackson. Let's get into this. Rights group says 8 months pregnant 21-year-old deported out of Atlanta airport amid medical distress. Ooh. The Robert and Ethel Kennedy Human Rights Center said Wednesday it had been working to stop the deportation of a 21-year-old pregnant woman with shooting pain. Shooting pain. Okay. Okay. So, like, I mean, it could have been contractions. You know, there's things called Braxton Hicks that, you know, pregnant women have, which are like contractions. Shooting pain in her back and abdomen, as ICE was attempting to remove her while asylum application is pending. Oh man. I think they were successful. Let's see. Later Wednesday night, a representative with the ACLU told 11 Alive they had obtained a temporary restraining order from a judge to keep Otis in the U.S. Otis is the girl. Let's see her name. Where's her name at? Where you at, Otis? Okay, here she is. Zarik Daniela Butrago Ortiz. I don't know. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry, but okay, that's her. Ortiz. Ortiz. I guess it's Ortiz. Okay. In the U.S., but let's read this again. Actually, late Wednesday night, a representative with the ACLU told 11 Alive they had obtained a temporary restraining order from a judge to keep Ortiz in the U.S., but that it came too late and that she was indeed aboard an afternoon flight that took her to Colombia. Wow. 11 Alive reached out to ICE, which did not respond, of course, to the request for comment. The rights group said she has been accused of being a suspect of Tren de Agua, of course, gang member, using Tren de Agua as a boogeyman to deport 8-month pregnant woman in medical distress is farcical, said attorney Anthony Enriquez. Americans see through the government's transparent attempts to deflect from its cruel and dangerous treatment of vulnerable people. Enough is enough. It's unclear as of yet if Ortiz will have an opportunity to return to the U.S. or what the next steps may be for her asylum case. Lawyers are evaluating the next steps in her case. And that's wild, because if she's already back in Colombia, you know, and she has that baby now, you know, if she had that baby in the U.S., then the baby would automatically have U.S. citizenship. I'm pretty sure. But if she's not here, then and she comes back and does her asylum, then the baby will also have to go through the process as well. I'm not sure how that works. I would have to look into that. I may look into it on the side here, but that's interesting. The rights group has said Ortiz cannot be removed by airplane without serious risk to the health and safety of her and her unborn child. A social media post by the organization added she learned last week the father of her child was murdered in Colombia, compounding her fear of return. Regarding the asylum application, the group said it was based on the same facts as her mother, who was deemed to have a credible fear of return, but only her mother's has been approved, highlighting arbitrary enforcement. So she's been approved, and they tried to, they tried to let ICE know. Then they tried to let the officials know before she was headed back to Colombia, but they said the plane was already in the air. But I hope she can make it back. This is okay. Yeah, this is the group. Our team of immigration attorneys just received word that ICE is trying to deport an 18-year-old girl who is 8 months pregnant and is currently in medical distress. Our client has a pending asylum application in the United States. Her deportation is scheduled for 2 p.m. Wow. She is 21 years old, not 18. This was unintended and unfortunate, but the critical facts surrounding her situation remain unchanged. So that's wild, but hopefully that situation works itself out. It's crazy what they're doing. All of this stuff, it just seems like it's very it's just illegal, against the law. It seems like it's against the law. But that's that. Moving on to this woman grazed by a bullet. Her 2-year-old was actually shot in the leg. This one's crazy. This one's wild. Woman grazed, 2-year-old shot in the leg in Clayton County. Officers said they were taken to hospitals to be treated for their injuries. A woman and a toddler were taken to the hospital after being hurt in a shooting on Wednesday evening in Clayton County. Clayton County police responded to a shooting in the 6,000 block of Twin Creek Court around 6:50 p.m. When officers arrived, they found a woman who had been grazed by a bullet on her back and a 2-year-old child who had been shot in the leg. Officers said they were taken to the hospital and treated. Detectives are still looking for the suspect in this case. The investigation remains ongoing. So that's wild. It's on the south side. That's crazy. They don't have much information, but I want to follow up on this because I want to see what's going on. Can we play this? I don't want it to be too loud, but let's see.
Don't wait for the next power.
Premier
has generators in stock now. Keep your home powered.
They got me.
Keep your family safe.
They got me with the ads.
Call today for your free quote and $1,000 off installation.
Come on,
Trust
man.
the experts at Premier
2,
Generators.
1. All right.
And shortly after the shooting you just heard about from Cody, Clayton County Police responded to this scene just 3 miles away on Twin Creek Court. Now, this is also in Riverdale, but it's Clayton County Police jurisdiction. Police say they responded to a shooting and found 2 victims there. One is a 2-year-old child shot in their leg. The second victim is a woman grazed by a bullet on her back. Now, both were taken to the hospital. Right now, we know there is no suspect in custody. We'll keep you updated as we learn new information.
Yep. Same here. All right, moving on. That's crazy. We'll have to revisit that once we know more information. But then we have Metro Atlanta students protesting. Man, I used to walk by this part every single day on campus back in the day. But yeah, there was a bunch of students outside. The Georgia State Green area Um, Students at Georgia State University held a walkout to protest against actions against immigrants by the Trump administration and ICE agents on January 20th, 2025. 2025, January 20th, 2026. What's wrong with y'all? These folks don't be proofreading nothing. Man, this Panther Express, it's rough. It's rough. That's a rough line right there. That blue line. No, that's cool. Let's see. The walkouts took place across 4 university campuses and 2 high schools, protesting Trump and ICE. Our girl Amanda Andrews holding it down. Students at Georgia State University held a walkout Tuesday afternoon protesting federal immigration raids across the U.S. and actions by immigration and customs enforcement, including assaults and arrests of American citizens. About 100 students gathered in the cold at Georgia State University Library Plaza for the protest. This is Library South. It comes in response to an ICE agent fatally shooting and killing Minnesota mom Renee Good in her car in Minnesota. Speakers at the protest focused on the importance of unity, education, and collective action. Logan Castillo, I guess, I don't know, is a freshman at GSU. He said he's worried about continued escalation from ICE agents. I believe that without sufficient pushback from the people organized together, that what will happen is they will utilize these forces to go after political enemies, go after anybody that the state deems as an enemy of the state, whether it's just a political opposition or whatever, Castillo said. Ifama Frazier is a junior at GSU. She said protest is a moment to get together and get educated. People are being murdered on the streets every single day, and people are just walking by like nothing has happened, Frazier said. So knowledge is power. Everyone needs to be educated so we can better inform our community, our friends, our children, our parents, our mothers, everyone, that we are here together and we will not stand for this. Walkouts also took place at Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State University, GSU Perimeter College, Towers High School, and Lakeside High School. Oh, thank you, Amanda. Appreciate it, girl. Keep doing good work. So yeah, your boy's alum school, standing up, very diverse college. I think it's like the second most diverse college in the nation. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. Not surprised at this at all. It's bound to happen here. I'm just worried that ICE is going to show up here at these protests on campuses. And I don't see why they wouldn't do that. So we'll see, though. But yeah, shout out to them. Moving on. So, outage over surge of data centers in Georgia inspires wave of bipartisan bills. So let's see what these bills is talking about, because I'm against all the data centers. We don't need all them data centers, bro. A surge in data center development has turned Georgia into a national hotspot while raising fresh concerns about the state's energy landscape and natural resources. A surge in data center development has turned Georgia into a national hotspot while raising why do they put this twice in here? Oh, I can't stand these folks and not proofreading. Man, somebody, anybody. y'all gotta do better, bro. Cause it seems like every single article I read, it's a mistake like this. Okay, moving on. After a massive request from Georgia Power to expand its energy capacity by about 10,000 megawatts due to unprecedented growth driven largely by a rise in data centers and a recent focus on energy affordability, particularly after Democratic successes campaigning on the issue in 2025, lawmakers seem likely to consider legislation that would help regulate the power-hungry massive facilities. Okay, let's see what some of these protections are. Senate Bill 34, a bill designed to protect residential ratepayers from costs associated with data centers infrastructure by prohibiting costs associated with fuel requirements, generation, and transmission from being included in general rates. That would be nice. Thank you, Chuck Huffstetler. Huffstetler, a Rome Republican. Okay, that's from MTG's district. I think it's District 14. District 14. Huffstetler said in a recent interview that despite the Public Service Commission passing its own rule to address costs after his bill was introduced last year, his legislation still needs to pass. He said that the current rule is insufficient and lacks the permanence of law. Their rule has enough loopholes in it to drive a truck through. So we need it codified into law. Okay, sir. I see you. Controversial project in Fayetteville in which high voltage transmission lines were run through residential yards into the mixed messaging that followed about whether it was intended to serve data centers or residential customers. They're so slimy about that. It's like they try to word all of these laws, like when you go in to vote, they try to word them in these weird ways to like get you to vote a certain way. You know what I mean? And it's so slimy, man. Just lay it out there. Tell us what we're voting for. Mandating disclosures. Let's see. Yeah, they do need to mandate disclosures. Okay, Debbie. Let's see what Debbie is sponsoring. She's proposing the House Bill 528. Focuses on the natural resources these facilities consume. Okay, the bipartisan bill will require facilities with a peak demand of 30 megawatts or greater to submit annual public disclosure reports on their energy and water usage. That would be nice. So, like I said in a previous episode or my previous stream, the Georgia House and Senate, like they're presenting a lot of bills right now. Now, it's the actual House is still majority Republican and the Senate is too. So we'll see if how many of those bills are passed. But both sides right now are presenting reasonable bills, and they have a lot of ideas as to like things like this information, rights to information about certain things, and which can go a long way. Like the public needs to know about how much these data centers are consuming, how much resources these data centers are consuming. So like they are very reasonable, but we'll see. They're presenting a lot of bills, but I want to see if any of these bills will actually, one, pass, and two, be implemented correctly, which is I think the first one is way more likely than the second. But yeah, I'm not gonna go over this whole thing, but I did want to touch on some of these. Re-examining tax incentives. So a December audit by Carl Vinson, which we talked about this before, Institute of Government at the University of Georgia, examined the state's sales and use tax exemption for data centers and concluded that the policy has cost the state at least $1.5 billion in lost revenues since its inception. Yes, I went over this story. Let's see what they're talking about. Are they talking about doing anything about it? Because I read that exact same thing in an article like 2 weeks ago. Senate Bill 410, two bills at least in part on tax credits. All right, this is kind of what it is. Would allow tax credits for data centers that have already been approved to remain in place, which could address Burns' concern And Senate Bill 408, sponsored by Atlanta Democrat Nan O'Rourke, would sunset the tax credit incentive in 2027, 5 years ahead of the original date. In an interview Friday, O'Rourke said that her bill is aimed at reeling in the mega installations that have massive energy consumption, water usage, and a lack of significant job creation. Yeah, there's a data center like down the street from us that it doesn't have anything there. You know, I mean, nobody parks there, you know, and it's been up there for about a year and a half, and it's just nobody's there. It's crazy. But, you know, I don't know what's going on over there for real, for real. I really don't, because it looks like nothing is going on. It's just kind of crazy. But yeah. So at least they're presenting ideas of how to like gain information or tax the data centers, or you know, have the data centers be more transparent, be able to you know, like this one, to protect residential ratepayers from costs, protect us from the cost of those, because you know, and they always say that, you know, we capitalize the gains, and then capitalize on the gains, and then socialize the losses, and that's basically what they're doing here. You know, making us pay for all of, you know, part of the energy we pay it in our power bill. You know, it's from Georgia Power. You know what I mean? Like, these are the people that are trying to create the infrastructure for these data centers, while like being able to run everything else as well. So we'll keep looking at that. And the last thing I want to look at is the weather. State of emergency in Georgia, y'all, for the next 7 days. I think it's 6 days now. It might be 7. Georgia winter weather updates Thursday. Winter storm watch expands into Atlanta and across metro area. Georgia and much of the southeast are bracing for a winter storm this weekend that could bring substantial and disruptive freezing rain and ice accumulation. While there is still uncertainty about the types of precipitation, we anticipate a long duration wintry mix evolving over North Georgia that will last for most of the weekend. Winter precipitation would start Saturday during the day and continue through at least Sunday evening. So y'all be safe out there, man. I know my family be watching this. You know what I mean? Y'all be safe over the weekend. Get what you need. Go to the store, get what you need, and then just stay inside. Don't even mess with that out there. Treat it like COVID. Potential disruptions could include impassable roads, widespread power outages and closures, ranging from businesses that can't open to schools, keeping kids home until next week. And UGA actually they're telling people to go on home. Like, go home. You know what I mean? You don't want to be stuck here if the power goes out on campus. You know, probably much rather be at home. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. Some people probably would look at it as a good thing. Some people would probably look at it as a terrible thing for the college, but I don't know. Ahead of the storm's arrival this weekend, Atlanta Live will track updates throughout the day, including a Georgia Emergency Management Agency. So yeah, be safe this weekend. They're calling for some freezing rain, wintry mix, and they did say something about ice. Like an inch or half an inch of ice. So be careful out there, y'all. Most significant accumulation of ice. Y'all be safe out there. Yep. Governor Brian Kemp and the Georgia Emergency Management Agency began a live update media briefing at 9:30 a.m. That video can be viewed on demand at the top of this article. He has declared a state of emergency for all counties. is set up for 7 days. The governor also said the State Operations Center, which is launched for a disaster response, will be activated at 7 a.m. on Saturday and run 24/7 until the event passes. GDOT will begin treating roads around Friday midnight and during the overnight hours Saturday morning. It will first prioritize the areas north of I-20. Makes sense. As forecasts continue to evolve, Georgians should be prepared for freezing precipitation that causes dangerous conditions and the potential for damage and power loss beginning Saturday, Kemp said in a statement. I have been working closely with the state and local officials to ensure we are prepared for all scenarios. The Department of Transportation will begin treating roads ahead of the storm's initial impact and along with our emergency management and public safety teams. They will be working around the clock throughout this weather event. I'm urging all Georgians to take necessary precautions now to ensure their families and pets can stay safe, warm, and fed over the next couple days. So, this is the state of emergency in written order right here. And I love this. I have a Georgia Constitution that I'm always looking at on my phone. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, this is the actual executive order from the government. But yeah. So y'all stay safe, man. Stay safe. He basically said every county. Yeah, y'all be safe out there. Stay off the roads. Stay off the roads. All right, let's get to these beats, yo. Get to these beats, yo. I want it. Try it again. Yeah. Kind of like that. I might come back to this, but I'm gonna check out some other sounds. Yeah, so in this situation, like there's like a grittiness in the bass. I would suggest like stacking EQs up. So like instead of this sound goodizer being in the first place, I'm going to move this guy down. You know what I mean? Swap places. Now it should help this bass a little bit. And then if I need more of that help, um I can definitely use another EQ or maybe something else. Let me see. All right, it's still there for right now. Actually, we're not even getting that anymore. Okay, yeah, that pretty much fixed it. It is a little gritty still. Yeah, that's a lot better. This race one's always off. I think there's something wrong with it. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Let's see what we're doing here. Alrighty. There's a lot that I could do with this. I'm gonna just play around with just these couple instruments that I have here. Right now they're all kind of apart. I want to be able to kind of bring them all together. You know what I mean? Kind of fire. Yeah, give it to me. Give it to me. I want it. What pattern am I on, y'all? On pattern 5, 6, 5. That's only 5 patterns. All right. Hold on. What was that? Cut that out. Try that again. That's all I wanted right there. All I wanted. Line it up. Line it up. Line it up. Line it up. Yeah. Yeah. I like it. But yeah, man. I'm gonna have to revisit this one because I kind of like this a lot. But I think that's it, for right now. But as always, love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being here. Much love. Y'all be safe out there. This weekend is crazy. This weather is crazy. Make sure you take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you, you know. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Love y'all. Peace.